Hello, it's Sonia here. I hope you're having a fabulous day. Thank you for completing Module 1 of this important course. In Module 1, you began to think about the question, what is literacy? How you define literacy is really important because your definition of literacy will influence how you teach literacy. For example, if you have a narrow definition of literacy, such as the ability to decode words in a text, your literacy instruction will likely be narrow and restrictive. Whereas if you think of literacy in much broader terms, connecting literacy to social and cultural practices, your literacy instruction will likely be much broader and much more powerful. From reading your posts in Module 1, I'm getting the impression that many of you are already thinking about literacy in broad terms, which is absolutely fabulous. In Module 1, you also began to think about another question that is central to this course. What does meaningful literacy teaching and learning look like? In your blog posts, you identified a number of important ideas. Let me highlight a few. First, the idea of differentiation. When it comes to literacy instruction, one size will not fit all. This is true for all students, but it's particularly important to consider when working with special education populations. In order to engage and teach your students, you will need to know a great deal about their interests and abilities and differentiate your instruction to meet their needs. Technology is another big idea in literacy instruction. Technology and multimodal learning is becoming increasingly important in the literacy classroom. Again, this is even more the case for special education students. Beware, however, technology can be used in powerful ways, but it can also be used in highly restrictive ways. For instance, just because you transfer a worksheet from paper to an iPad doesn't mean you're creating a good learning experience for your students. So it's really important to be mindful of the ways that you use technology, as I'm sure that you're aware. Texts. Texts are going to be central to literacy instruction, but it's important that we also think about text more broadly, so multimodal text will also be an important part of your instruction. Where texts are concerned, it's important to ensure that every student has access to texts that are meaningful and engaging to them. Too often, students in special education classrooms are provided with texts which are neither meaningful or engaging. As our future special education teachers, I implore you to make thoughtful text selections for all of your students. In this module and the rest of this course, you will continue to think about the essential questions in this course. What is literacy and who are we as literate individuals? What is text? What is the relationship between literacy practices and literacy theories? What does meaningful literacy teaching and learning look like in schools and in wider communities? I look forward to collaborating with you throughout this course, and I wish you all the very best.